The vault opens. Welcome back. I am the archivist. Every week I open a file that was never meant to be found. Tonight, we open another one. The file reads, Government Secrets. Classified. Governments keep secrets. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is a documented fact. Every government in the world has files that the public is never supposed to see. Programs that were never supposed to be known, operations that were designed to stay buried forever. But sometimes the files leak. Sometimes a whistleblower finds the courage. Sometimes a journalist pulls the right thread. And the truth comes out. Tonight, the archivist opens 4 of the most disturbing government secrets that were eventually revealed to the world. Not theories, not speculation, documented, confirmed, real. Secret 1, Operation Paperclip, 1945. World War II has just ended. Nazi Germany has been defeated. The world is celebrating, and quietly, behind closed doors. The United States government is doing something that would have horrified every soldier who fought in that war. They are recruiting Nazi scientists, hundreds of them, scientists who worked directly for Adolf Hitler, scientists who used concentration camp prisoners as test subjects, scientists responsible for some of the most horrific war crimes in human history. The US government gave them new identities, erased their pasts, brought them to America, gave them jobs, gave them salaries, gave them security clearances. The program was called Operation Paperclip, and it was classified for decades. The reasoning given by the US government was simple. These scientists had knowledge that America needed: rocket technology, chemical weapons research, aerospace engineering. The Cold War was beginning, and America wanted to win it, so they made a deal with the devil. Wernher von Braun, the man who designed the V-2 rocket used to bomb London, was brought to America under Operation Paperclip. He later became the lead engineer of NASA. The man who helped put Americans on the moon had previously built weapons for Adolf Hitler using slave labor from concentration camps. Operation Paperclip brought over 1,600 Nazi scientists to America. It was declassified in 1990. 45 years after it happened. Secret 2, COINTELPRO, 1956. The FBI under Director J. Edgar Hoover launches one of the most illegal domestic surveillance programs in American history. Its name, COINTELPRO, Counterintelligence Program. The target, American citizens, specifically civil rights leaders, anti-war activists, anyone the FBI decided was a threat to what Hoover called the American way of life. The methods were illegal, unconstitutional, and in several cases directly led to violence and death. The FBI infiltrated civil rights organizations with informants. They sent anonymous threatening letters to activists. They wiretapped phones without warrants. They spread deliberate lies to destroy reputations. They manipulated the media. And in the most disturbing documented case, the FBI sent a letter to Martin Luther King Jr. The letter implied that the FBI had recordings of his private life, and it suggested, in barely disguised language, that he should kill himself before he could be publicly destroyed. This letter was sent by agents of the United States government to one of the greatest civil rights leaders in American history. COINTELPRO was discovered in 1971 when a group of activists broke into an FBI office in Pennsylvania and stole classified documents. They mailed the documents to newspapers. The program was exposed. J. Edgar Hoover died in 1972 before he could face any consequences. Not a single FBI agent was ever prosecuted for COINTELPRO, not one. Secret 3, Operation Northwoods, 1962. This is perhaps the most disturbing item in the archivist's files tonight, because it was not something that happened, it was something that was planned, approved, and only stopped at the last moment. In 1962, at the height of the Cold War, senior officials in the United States Department of Defense submitted a top-secret proposal to President Kennedy. The proposal was called Operation Northwoods. The plan to stage fake terrorist attacks on American soil against American citizens and blame them on Cuba. The attacks would be real. People would die. Buildings would be destroyed. The plan included shooting down an American passenger plane, sinking American ships, bombing American cities, all designed to look like Cuban attacks, so that America would have justification to invade Cuba. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most senior military officials in America, signed off on this plan. President Kennedy rejected it and fired the general who proposed it. The documents were classified. They stayed classified for 35 years. They were finally declassified in 1997. When the American public finally read what their own military had planned to do to them, the response was shock, then silence. Operation Northwoods remains one of Secret 4, the NSA Mass Surveillance Program, 2013. This one is recent, and it changed the world. For years, the United States government publicly denied that it was conducting mass surveillance on its own citizens. Politicians looked into cameras and told the American public that their private communications were not being monitored. They were lying. In 2013, a 29-year-old NSA contractor named Edward Snowden walked out of an NSA facility in Hawaii carrying 4 laptops full of classified documents. He flew to Hong Kong, he met with journalists, and he gave the world proof that the NSA had been secretly collecting the phone records of hundreds of millions of Americans, reading emails, monitoring internet activity, building a surveillance infrastructure so vast that no government in history had ever attempted anything like it. The program was called PRISM. Major technology companies, including Google, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft, had been secretly compelled to give the NSA direct access to their servers. Every search you made, every email you sent, every call you made, potentially recorded, stored, monitored. The government response when this was revealed was not to apologize. It was to charge Edward Snowden with espionage. He has lived in exile in Russia ever since. The surveillance programs he revealed were later ruled unconstitutional by a federal court, but they had already been running for years, collecting data on millions of people who never knew. Before the archivist closes this file, one final entry. These 4 programs, Operation Paperclip, COINTELPRO, Operation Northwoods, and PRISM, were not theories. They were not speculation. They were confirmed by declassified documents, congressional investigations, and court rulings. They happened. And they shared one thing in common. They were all secret. All of them were denied. All of them were defended when revealed. And none of the people responsible faced meaningful consequences. The archivist leaves you with one question. If these programs stayed secret for decades and were only revealed by accident, by leaks, by stolen documents, how many programs are running right now that we do not know about yet? The file is closing. But before it does, the archivist asks you to think about that. the vault closes for now. If you are new here, subscribe. Every file we open is one they never wanted you to read. I will see you in the next vault.